Hi again, all. I'm just wanting to drop in really quickly here and make a quick note on the idea of moderation. Now, this is a little bit of a bugbear of mine. I hear people say, moderation in all things, and sometimes I wonder, well, does that saying also apply to moderation? Moderation only in moderation. Um, Look, and this idea in moderation in all things is the best. Often people will say when you're trying to make a dietary change, for example, or some other lifestyle change, even, look, just make sure you eat healthy, eat healthy, whichever term you like to use, whether you want to be grammatical with it or not. As long as you eat healthfully most of the time, then just eat this or that. Don't worry too much about it. Don't go hardcore. Don't be extreme with it. Don't go overboard with it. And I recognise this can be really important for people, especially if they're suffering with eating disorders, if that's a known issue. And for some people, look, that approach is great. That's enough. That's all they need. Good on them. Excellent. I'm happy for them. I'm not one of them. I find two things wrong with that. First of all, number one, just eating, in moderation, eating mostly healthful things, whatever that means to whatever person. There's a lot of disagreement out there about that, for starters. But also, just the very idea of that, I think, is massively demotivating. Um, yeah, it's almost my second point. I skipped the first actually, but I think it's really demotivating to think, yeah, I'll just sort of shoot for average and pretty good and good enough, and yeah, I know this can play into that perfectionistic mindset and that streak, but I think there's something more motivating about celebrating your wins along the way, celebrating what you're doing well and when you're doing it well, even if there's periods of slipping up. But in also going, no, I don't just want some moderate health. I don't just want to feel moderately good. I want to feel great. I want to feel physically great. I want to feel amazing. I want to resolve some of these chronic issues, some of these health issues, and some of these things mentally and physically that are really impacting my life. And that's for me personally. And I know there are a lot of people out there like that as well, especially once they've realized how much of a role that diet can play. So I think first of all there's the motivational aspect, and second of all there's the just the pure aspect of health benefits that are conferred or are not conferred by eating in moderation for some people. Yeah, that eating in moderation, eating moderately healthy food, eating healthfully most of the time, and then here and there, having whatever might be okay. But for some people, and I count myself in this, I can feel the difference. The other day, I've noticed recently having coffees, for example, get this sharp pain up my neck and some headaches sometimes, but not at others. And I've noticed as well a little bit of arthritis in a couple of my toes and a couple of joints, which is weird because I'm 42 years old, 43 now. Just turned 43, just ticked over. And I think with things like that, you're not served by just eating in moderation. All it can take sometimes is some things, whether that's plant foods, whether that's ultra processed foods, a combination of both, to really feel the difference, to really feel the impact of that. So there are certain people, for whatever reason, whether that's some autoimmune diseases, autoimmune issues, whatever other reasons, allergies, undiagnosed, unknown allergies, intolerances, that not being really careful with what you're cutting out, what you're letting in, can have a very real impact and a very noticeable, significant impact. So yeah, all things in moderation, including all things in moderation. I think great saying applies to certain things, doesn't necessarily apply to others. And I would suggest that for some people, for diet, for dietary changes, for lifestyle changes, great, that might be one of them. I'd suggest for other people, not the case. Moderation should be moderated. Moderation should not be followed exclusively here.